Okay, now I'm not saying the price of the stock is cheap. I'm saying relative to earnings, Meta could be trading cheap. And the reason it could be trading cheap is because when you look at the small caps, the companies who are likely to advertise on Meta, they may be running out of money. And we've seen that because we've seen how the Russell's been doing. And so the concern is there's not going to be as much advertising revenue coming in because their core business, the people who participate in their core business, aren't getting enough revenue themselves because the consumer is also hurting. So Meta's trading at a discount as a result of that, especially when you compare it to some of the other Mag 7. So if Meta beats, and it shows that there isn't really that kind of concern with respect to its earnings, it could skyrocket. Now, it's a bit of a gamble, but most trading is. Most trading is about risk and reward. But Meta, I would not mind seeing it retrace down to 300 again and adding that bad boy into the long-term account, beat down as it is at the moment. So my little 2 cents here. Let's talk a little bit about CGC because everybody and their mother's cousin is talking about this, man. We got to look at this. Every weed is moving here. Now, guys, no new headline on marijuana stocks, just a continuation from last week. We already know about this. The EU announced something called a GMP certification. Let's have a look at that here. Essentially what it is, it's a certification for its cannabis cultivation facility in Kinarkadeen, Ontario. Oh, I should know how to say that. It's in Ontario City. Allowing the company to continue exporting certified medical cannabis to medical markets in Europe and around the world. That was last week's headline. This article just saying, it's kind of making the gains back from its move down last week. Let me just fix this here. I don't know why it didn't go to the chart. Very frustrating. There we go. Let's have a look at CGC. Shout out to Michael Lloyd. Big move up right now on CGC, knocking on the door of that 63 penny area. We're just a smidge below that 62 pennies and 62.90 area, up 24% on the day. Let's have a look at the short float on CGC, just so we know what's going on. The short float, not negligible, 8.16%. Just not sure exactly where the majority of the shorts have initiated, so keep your eye on that. Super SPAC man, no one wants to be in advertising on a platform targeting children. Good point. That could become an issue. Abrar saying Meta calls cheap. Interesting. I'll have a look at the premium there. I know that they were trading more expensive before. Kyle Burdett, another $1.99 super chat. Was the flush because of the European market closes? No, they closed at 11:30, Kyle. So that was likely. Well, when did we start tanking? We started tanking at around 12. So yeah, I don't know exactly if I would associate that with the European close. It could be a delayed reaction possibly to the European close. Not exactly sure. But we are moving down now. We are almost at flat now on the NQ. I mentioned this earlier. Yesterday's close, 14.713. We have a 14.716 and a quarter. So possible support coming in here now on the NQ. Be careful. We're now at yesterday's close. We could see a pop. Not sure. We'll have to just let that one play out. But the only trade that I'm involved in is in this INM short. Already got one nice profit taker on this one, but I'm looking for that 140 level to give up the ghost. It's been a series of lower highs on this one with a flat bottom. I'm just waiting here, hopefully, to give up the ghost on that level. Super SPAC man, quickly before I send it back to Adair, Meta gave up on 312. Oh, it certainly did. 311 and 2/3.
Oof. Yeah, so right now I'm looking at Mr. Coca-Cola over here. Pretty appetizing, pun kind of intended. I would like an entry just kind of below that 55.45. I have like 55.44-ish here because we are seeing some support. I wouldn't, I kind of would like to see what this does at VWAP because it seems like it has been kind of dancing around VWAP. As of late, we are seeing slightly higher lows for a shorter term trade. I am intrigued. I also was looking at CGC because I did say I would look to enter CGC, and I kind of realized I don't think I super know how to trade a stock like this. And I think that was kind of what my issue was, if that makes sense. So basically, because they move, A, very quickly, because B, you're working in like percentages of cents here, I had a really hard time setting an entry level that made sense for it to make. So I think with these stocks, like CGC, I'm going to have to take more time to kind of sit with it and see how these books move. Much like the stocks with larger spreads, which I've kind of started trading occasionally, so your Lululemons or your Netflixes, I think I need kind of time to see how a penny stock moves before I'm able to know how to enter a stock like this, because I had a spread, I think, or not a spread, I had an entrance kind of interest that I was interested in around that 0.59, and then we kind of missed that entirely. So I think I definitely need to sit more with these penny stock tapes and get used to reading them. But I mean, this stock is taking off like nothing else. I really, wish I was able to have kind of entered this, because I did have to cancel a couple fills that I put in just because I wasn't really aware of how to trade it. In the meantime, it looks like we got in on Mr. Coca-Cola, so we should check that out. Okay, and then of course I get in and it dips a little bit lower. Yeah, I mean, we are seeing some support around this 55.4 area, so if we dip below this, then I think would be a bit of a cause for concern. But Coke has been strong all day on these earnings that we had in the morning. I also, some mentions of Mara, try trading Mara, hee. Shout out to Peter Ransom. And then also Salvo, can we look at Mr. Mara? Yes, we can. You know what? We can. I think I've traded Mara like once. Like it is a stock I'm mildly familiar with. I want to look at the 10-minute on this just because these wild wicks are kind of, okay. So I'm seeing slightly lower highs, but also slightly higher lows here on the 10-minute. These kind of wicks over here. Yeah.
The full picture.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's a 10-minute? Okay.
That's a 10-minute.
Gotcha.
I'll switch to the 5, just because I feel like these wicks I'm finding really hard to read.
Well, look at this resistance level.
That is true,
That was
okay.
previous support, and then look, coming right back into that level. That's not by accident.
Okay, so that is of note. Okay. You know what? Yeah, I might have to try to enter this Mara. Maybe around this this 960 kind of area. This might be one to enter. So shout out to everyone in the chat, and thank you for pointing that out to me as well. Because that's a good point. We do have some resistance around that 9.9 area for sure. Let's see what else is going on here on my. I want to look at TRU again, because someone in the chat was mentioning this one to me, and then also we were talking about TransUnion earlier, reporting weak quarterly numbers. Yeah, I mean, we just kind of had a giant movement to the downside here, kind of dancing around. Does not look like it really wants to go much higher here. Could we get to negative 30% on the day? Honestly, seems like it could be likely. We seem to have, doesn't really seem to want to go positive. Like, we'll have a couple green 5-minute candles to the upside and then take this giant flush. I honestly would be a little bit scared trading it as a long, but I feel like if you got this in a short early on, I mean, I think, congrats to you, because this would have been beautiful early, because this just flushed to the downside.
Going and going.
It did not want to stop. It was very confident. In the meantime, it looks like Coke is continuing.
You guys ruined my life when I was like in my early 20s.
Oh, really?
I had such bad credit.
Oh,
took out a credit card and then went buck wild, and it was TransUnion and Equifax, but they were my nemesis. Now it's all good, but
yeah.
Back in the day.
I mean, the stock could be people's nemesis now, right? If you're in a long, or if you're
flush.
long term, yeah. It's like plug power all over again.
Can you imagine holding a grudge for that long?
Right. I mean, who knows? But yeah, I mean, Coke not looking super strong here. Like I said, I'm going to see what it does at this 55.40, because that's been a bit of a floor here. But I mean, I would like it to make up its mind. I'll put it that way. In the meantime, I think we're going to try to get in on some Mara.
All right, let's look here at the future, because we're right at that level. Okay, so the Katina Man now is $6 in the money on one, 4 on the other, and 2 on the other, and he's gotten up, he's left, he's putting in trailing stops for those who are following. By the way, for those who want to follow Neil and Sean's trades, we are launching soon, before I say that. We are launching, I had to just verify before I ran off at the mouth.
Quick break, yeah.
A new channel. It will run concurrently to this one, and it will be news-based. It will have Sean and Neil's trades. It will have all these breaking news items. You'll probably be able to run both at the same time. One will be the live feed with us and them and Brendo, and everybody else who comes and participates on the show. The other one will just be a news-based, data-based channel. It will definitely help you keep up to speed. What am I seeing here? Okay. Well, yeah, it will definitely keep you up to speed with respect to that. All right, back to the market here. 14.7 is where we're finding some support right now, just a smidge above 14.7. 14.712 is yesterday's close, and we're definitely having a little bit of back and forth between buyers and sellers at that level. We'll see what happens when we get to the 100-point level. Not there yet, but big rejection off that 14.833. That was the top of this crest over here, and then we have, it's been one red candle after another. It hasn't been one green candle here on my 5-minute chart on the way down, so we'll have to wait and see what ends up happening there. By the way, guys, you know, this channel that I'm updating you on, it's still in the works. We don't know, we don't have an ETA for it, but it's definitely something we're working on. So stay tuned, and we'll let you know more about that when we are ready to move forward with it. All right, let's move back here to INM. 143% up on the day, lower highs. It's the only trade that I've had on the day, and I'm waiting for this flat bottom break to materialize through that $1.40, $1.39. It broke down once here at $1.36. I was able to get a fill, but it's really been very consolidated, very sideways. But this is the kind of chart pattern that I really like. It's one we've talked about umpteen times on the show, where we have a series of lower highs and the same low. It's called the descending wedge, or whatever term you want to use. It's something that is quite, you know, I don't know what the hit rate is on it. The textbooks usually have that kind of information for you. There's been one study done by one individual that took a lot of these main chart patterns and put them to the test and actually did the data analysis on them. And I do have excerpts of that book, and I want to bring it on here because I think it would pay dividend to see which chart patterns and at what points are the most effective and the most reliable. So definitely going to see if I can bring that in. And yeah, we'll maybe have a read through it on the midday since we do have time. Anything else here going on for me? Tesla, no, nothing really here. CGC getting a bit of a rejection off that 63 penny area, looking to come back down into 60. Ran really good to the high side. Not really sure exactly. There's no new news on this, just a kind of a continuation from last week with respect to EU regulations allowing medical cannabis to continue to be sold there. Michael Lloyd having a hell of a trade on that, but kind of giving off the tops right now.
Yeah, I mean, we got into Mara. I just got into Mara around 970. Also, we gave up Coke because it was going to the downside, and we got, I was just not liking it. We didn't lose too much on that. We lost like less than $2 total because it didn't have many shares in it. But yeah, so we got in around right at 970 here on Mara. We're dancing around that area. I like this too because we were seeing, you know, as Sharif mentioned, we do have some resistance around that 9.9 area. So it seems like, you know, a safe area that it could run up to potentially. And also I was seeing these higher lows over here on this 5-minute wicks. So I was a little bit intrigued. We'll have to wait and see what it actually does here. But yeah, I'm definitely comfortable in this trade. On the short term, I have traded Mara before, I believe, as I mentioned. So yeah, I'm cool with it. We'll have to wait and see what kind of movement it has. In the meantime, Tesla's still dancing below 215 here. I'm gonna pull that up. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of running around 214, 215. Again, I think I'm gonna have to bid these NQ names adieu for now, because I am a little bit scared of what they've done, and I've made enough questionable decisions in these trades earlier today, quite frankly, as it is. Speaking of questionable trades, NVIDIA, which I'm not in right now, still honestly showing a bit of support at 428. But I would like to see more definitive movement before I dip my toe back into this guy. Right now, we're just letting Mara run a little bit. Seems like it is dancing right around where I got in. I'm gonna have to probably make some decisions on Mr. Mara. But I mean, long-term it is, or like long-term intraday. I mean, like throughout the day, Mara has been strong. And we also did still have the catalyst with the Bitcoin strength You know, was touching 35,000 at one point. So absolutely a good day to trade these coin stocks, these crypto-based stocks. So I'm not going to give up hope on this one just yet. Also, Spotify being mentioned in the chat. I was looking at Spotify earlier. Okay, Spotify around VWAP. Hello. I might doing this thing. I know Sharif was mentioning to me once too. Like you said, with if you see these kind of wicks to the downside, it's like you're testing these lows and you're kind of not going below it. So it could be a sign that it wants to go up beyond here.
But it has to be at an important level.
That's true too. Okay.
That's kind of what I meant by that. But
I should have.
It is. It's kind of dipping near VWAP, which could be an important level for it, given how much it's been up on the day.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Okay.
What we were at, like 11.5%
at one point. Yeah, I think when I looked at it earlier. Yeah, no. So I mean, yeah, I think like I should have. That's true about the levels too, right? That is definitely worth noting. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep my eye on this because I like the wick upward. I would like, kind of at least one more, swoop to the upside here, one more candle up. But I think there is some interest here. I am intrigued.
All right.
Yeah.
Go for it. No, you had more.
Yeah, still looking at, I was just going to say quickly, Mara still dancing around where I entered, which I guess is a good sign it's not going down any further. But I would, if it would make up its mind, I think that'd be really lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, Mara. Well, that was a nice bounce back for
Order
for
submitted,
Bitcoin, especially off that 33,250.
Yeah.
Here it is. Let's talk a little bit about that because it found its footing and got back up into 34,350 essentially. So about $100,000 off the lows, moves back up. Now retracing back down. I don't know what indicators. I mean, it's probably like everything else, right? It's price action based. But for some reason, when I load up my Bitcoin charts on my platform, it forces me to use Bollinger Bands. And I don't typically use Bollinger Bands at all. And for some reason, it wants me to. So I'm trying to think, is that used in currency in Bitcoin, whereas it's not as prevalent in equities? Anybody know anything about that? Tag me in the chat because when I load up an equities chart default on my platform, it doesn't force Bollinger Bands on me. But when I load up anything FX-based or crypto-based, it really does. So I'm not sure what to make of that. Looks like INM finding a bit of a footing back up, holding that 140 area, although it broke down momentarily into that 135, now moving back into 148. I'm going to keep my ad right here at $1.58. If this breaks it above VWAP, that's the end of my trade here. That's where it becomes invalid. And that's just by happy accident because VWAP would be a newer high. And what I'm looking for here is continuously lower highs on INM. If a new high is made, then the trade is invalid for me and I get out. And VWAP just happens to be where a new high would be made. So that's the reason, not just because I'm using VWAP specifically. The other thing here is that we're finding some support on the NQ after that big move down, right back into yesterday's close. Let me just remove that. Yeah, there we go. Right back into yesterday's close, which was 14,712. Finding some support there, back up into 14,727 or so. Nothing really to write home about. It was a big move down. Not really sure what to make of it either. The other news item I wanted to talk about, our Chinese ADRs are very strong today. And I was looking for a reason why. It looks like more Chinese stimulus coming in here. This is what I'm talking about here. Shares of U.S. listed Chinese companies are trading higher following a report suggesting China may unleash a new fiscal round of stimulus. It's been several lately, and they've made no bones about the fact that they want that 5% year-over-year growth.
Order submitted.
And they won't settle without it. So you're getting big outsized moves on some of the beat-down names. Chief among them, at least for me, Liato up 7% today, but definitely, been taking it on the chin as of late. Let's have a look at the daily on Lee. There's nothing to celebrate here, sadly, because the trend is still intact, and that trend is lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. Where do you break this pattern? Well, you'd have to get above 38. get above and stay above 38. That was a flat bottom break, and we've been doing a bit of a dance. We haven't even gotten back to 38 since giving up the ghost there. But good day for Lee. It was a good day yesterday, good day today, good day for Chinese ADRs. I don't know how long this lasts, especially with the new move as of late with China trying to,
Order canceled.
I don't want to say hurt, but they are definitely going after Foxconn, looking to, flex their muscle on Taiwan and the United States, and as a result of these export bans that the U.S. has put in. So we'll have to see how that does. Back to the future.
I was like, was that
like that,
intentional? Because
huh? I didn't
I
actually
love
do it.
that.
I didn't mean to do it.
I was a fan of that. I don't even have
Yeah.
to say it.
Nice move up here, 14,730, holding yesterday's general area. We have a 14,706 low. A couple of tags here. Let me look at this. Hampton's Trader. Lion going back to VWAP LIAN. Let's have a look at that one quick. What did I do with that? I got rid of it. Let's load it up here. LIAN. Let's see what this one's doing. All right, so LIAN sideways, definitely dancing around that same area it was dancing around first. This $3.22 area broke down just a smidge above 3, got to like 304. Line quite consolidated for me. It's going to have to choose a direction before I get involved. 420 Bud Monster. Trading View does not force Bollinger Bands on crypto. Okay, good to know because it forces it on me. Abdullah Mansour, is the bond number out? Good question.
I was trying
Go
to
ahead and
find.
look. I got it right here.
Okay, thank you.
So let's go ahead and have a look. Yes, sir. And like yesterday's bond auction, lower than the previous. So two-year note comes at 5.055. Previous was 5.085. Okay, and so that's relevant. And I'm going to explain quickly why that's relevant. The less demand you have in the auction, the higher the yield has to be. Okay? And again, I've talked about this on the show. The Japanese are the biggest debt holders of U.S. Treasuries. They've slowed down their buying of U.S. Treasuries in exchange for what's now become their preferred, which is JGB, the Japanese government, JGB, Japanese government bond. They've been buying that up a lot more. The Chinese are the second biggest debt holders of U.S. Treasuries. They've also slowed down their buying. So if there isn't as much demand for the U.S. Treasuries as there was before, yields will have to be higher to reflect the increased interest. So yeah, the number is out. Thanks, Mohammed, for letting me know about that. Any other tags here that I need to mention? No, Mohammed just writing what the auction, the result of the two-year note was. So, the future is getting a bit of a bounce here, but it's really nothing to excite me. We're talking about a few points here after moving down well over 150 points. 14,878 was the top of there, and we got to 14,706 low.
Nice. Yeah. So I'm in Spotify and Mara right now. They're both going well so far. I will chit chat about them at this juncture. So we're in Spotify. We got in. I have to look at the position board to remember where I got in on that. 168.90. I like where we got in here. Did wick a little bit lower, after I got in, but it is what it is. We're still definitely within the area of support here. I set to take out half my shares at 169.50. Looks like we can get that. Beyond that, I kind of kept the rest of them to see if we can get a little bit higher, like 169.8 per se. We're going to see what happens. In the meantime, we took out a third of our Mara at 980 here. It looks like getting above 980 is a little bit of a challenge, so I might have to revise what I'm doing here, but this name is strong. I do have faith in it, so I'm going to stay in for the time being. In the meantime, Tesla is being a little temptress over here, and I am not giving into it because I'm seeing these candles to the upside, and I'm so intrigued. It's like, but Adara, you're in other trades, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I have to say, I have to admit, I'm very curious. If we kind of get closer to VWAP, maybe, that'll be more of a point of interest for me. But I was saying, like, I'll wait till the bond auction in my head. We've had the bond auction now, so could be a point of entry for me, but I'm going to be careful. I also want to look at NVIDIA because that one's also inching towards that 430 again. I got so many dark pool wicks here in NVIDIA. But another beautiful set of movement toward the VWAP that I'm trying to ignore because, you know, we're trying to be good and stick with these trades we have right now. It looks like we got half of our position out of Spotify. I just checked the board here on the side, so I'm going to pull up that and see how it's going. Yeah, okay, so it looks like we might actually, I said to take out the rest at 170. I can lower that if I need to. It looks like we could get the rest of our fill at 170, which would be over $1 in the money for half our shares. So I would be thrilled if that does come to fruition. It looks like it could. In the meantime, Mara keeps on trucking around 980. So yeah, positive times all around. I'm going to have to see if I want to do anything about NVIDIA and Tesla, but I honestly would rather get out of these positions first before I make those decisions there. Also, shout out, thank you to Bears vs. Bulls in the chat. Let's go, Adara. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you, everybody in the chat. Just looking over here. Yeah, so people saying Tesla might be a short still. Yeah, I think that's why, because Tesla's been so up and down all day. I don't want to get in yet. But yeah, very much appreciate the support in the chat. And I am, NVIDIA just went over 430. Got some things to look at here, but I will pass it over to you in the meantime.
Absolutely. I was just talking to Oleg here in the chat, bringing up a really good point. He says, Sharif, how big a squeeze can Teladoc be? They raise prices, low expectations, plus a big short ratio. My tip, 30+%. Well, let's have a look. I mean, why guess? The work's been done for us. Here's what I use, guys. I use Market Chameleon. And Market Chameleon pleases me greatly because of how they structure their earnings chart here. Let's have a look. So TDOC after the bell today, is it, Adira? I was putting you under the...
Yeah, I was going to say, because I usually get the... Okay, they are.
Okay, so here it is, Oleg. According to the good people at Market Chameleon, the previous move on Teladoc was plus 27%. This time around, their expected move is plus or minus 13.5. That could be for a bunch of reasons. One, the options volume has to reflect it. This time it's about 16,000 or 16.75 or so. I don't know what it was last time around, but by comparison, look at Snap is at 213,000. So the interest in it is not as huge as some others. The other thing could be the short interest has also dropped. So if I don't know what the short interest was before, but right now it's 15.44% according to Trade Ideas. But if the short interest has dropped, the possibility of it doing a bigger outsized move than 27% drops, because then, you know, the squeeze is lessened. The potential for a short squeeze is lessened. So I don't really know exactly what to expect from Teladoc, but I don't know, man. These pandemic era plays, I don't know. I don't really have anything to say fundamentally about this name, but let's have a look at the technical levels at TDOC because I haven't looked at that. EOC. Let's first start with the daily chart. So here we go, the daily on Teladoc. Well, there you go. I mean, my goodness. January 2021, we were at $308. Now, mind you, that was like in the midst of the COVID craze. Everybody was locked down at this point. So you can see why that there would be, irrational exuberance at that time. But it really has not had a good moment since then. Where can I see here where we made a higher high? We haven't. Every single crest subsequent to that January 2022 or February, whatever it was,
Order
2021,
submitted.
pardon me, has been lower.
Order
it's been lower
submitted.
highs all throughout. You don't have necessarily lower lows, so the bottom could be in. What is this thing doing? There we go. We are actually near all-time lows. No, let me go to the weekly for that. I don't want to speak
Order filled.
correctly here. So all-time lows, no. All-time lows come in 2016. We're at about $9.27 or so, 9 and change. Recently, we've been holding, it looks like we've been holding that 10. Let me have a look here. Let's go to the daily and zoom in. No, we haven't even come close to 10. Recently, we've been holding about 18. 18 seems to be the level here where there is a buyer. Now, you can really tell that's the case based on where the wicks are and where the body of those candles closes. So wicks touches 18, closes above, and it repeats that over and over and over. You had days here like October 20th where you actually broke down below 18, but the close was far above 18. 1778 on the 20th, and then you had a quick test of 1791 yesterday, and today, you guessed it, $18 is the low. So 18, critical level locally on Teladoc, no question about that. Does that level hold if we miss on earnings? I would suggest to you no. No, it wouldn't. And you're also far below the 50, far below the 200 on the daily. And even when you got in the 200 for whatever reason here in July, that's probably because the market was running up, it rejected the 200. So Teladoc, not in my good books with respect to a long. But yeah, if they beat, you never know. You could see there's another level here that's glaring at me in the face, and it's that 22, like let's say $22.50, $22 area. You had a trough there March, another trough in end of May. You got another
Order
one mid-July, and then you got another one end of July, just before we rocketed up. So
Order
if we do
submitted.
make a move up, look for this level, this $22.50, $23 area to be a level of resistance that we can't break through, at least initially. We'll see how that does. But yeah, Teladoc. Was Kathy Wood in Teladoc, Neil? Yeah, so the Neil confirming to me that Kathy was in T-Doc. Yeah, let's pull up. Let's put ARK Invest. Oh, got it. Thank you, Neil. ARK Invest. Let's find out what they've been up to lately, Adara. Let's pull up ARK Invest, and they show us what they do here. So we go investment solutions.
It's like a fancy little website. Looks
Yeah,
like a
it's
spa
fantastic.
website. Oh
Why
my God.
innovation? No, we'll just go ARK Holdings. There we go. The ARK Innovation managed by Kathy Wood. Combined. Is this it? There it is. All right, here we go. ARK's, the flagship one, which is ARK Invest. They got
Order
Coinbase,
canceled.
number one, the biggest position. Tesla, UiPath, Roku, Zoom, Square, Exact Sciences, DraftKings. She's in.
Order
and there we
filled.
go. 10th place, Teladoc. She's in between about 104. Oh my God.